Hello and good morning guys, and welcome to another video. Today I want to be showing off the Rostejo map by Xucaboa with my networks. It's a map I didn't know I was gonna make like a few weeks ago, or like a map I made, a map that I would sort of help make. It's similar to Monterey in the way that Xucaboa made this map, this amazing looking map. It's a merge of the Roslyn Peninsula vanilla map, or I believe it maybe it's from Campus DLC, with the sort of real life height maps of a scaled up or scaled down, I guess, a sort of a real life height map of the southern of Lisbon, basically, of Lisbon, Portugal, parts. So it will remind you a little bit of that geography, and of course of Roslyn Peninsula at the same time. It's such a cool merge of features, and I basically got to make the network. So the reason Xucaboa made this is they are doing a sort of Bronze Age start. Or like an ancient times start on this map. We're going to make a detailed city that progresses through the ages. We've already done it on a different map, started the project, but this is a sort of restart with better and newer mods. So, and the map was amazing, and I couldn't sort of resist when the opportunity arose to sort of create my own sort of modern version of it with networks and make it a workshop playable map, like a directly plug and playable map. So I want to show it to you today, the version with all the networks, and talk about it a little bit, because I think it's super cool. Yeah, I had a lot of fun making this map. I'm sorry, that was a very random introduction, but what you need to know, Xucaboa made the map, I made the networks, and yeah, let's start. As you can see already, it has a few really unique features, like these custom bridges. This is probably the I don't know, this is probably the main one, the best one, or the most unique one, because it has the rail line very, very snugly tucked in underneath it. That is a functional rail line for once, so you will actually be able to use this for trains. So trains should even go here right now if we find any, but also all these nice interchanges and intersections. I am super happy with how these turned out. This is the starting tile area right here. I'm gonna zoom out so you can, or like turn off the cinematic or the hide UI thing so you can see it for a bit. The idea about this is it's very plug and playable. You see these junctions here. This I'm super proud of, by the way. I have to show this. You see how there's a roundabout made of highway roads. Works very well for traffic flow most of the time, and it doesn't create the unnecessary crosswalks that we don't like. So, but the problem is it doesn't create a functional sidewalk connection. So I've done a road or a pedestrian path that sort of goes around here and connects up the sidewalks. But then, since this is the starting tile, this is where you would start building probably. It would make a lot more sense to be able to connect these to the roundabout. So what I did is, this is genius. I added 2 nodes on each side. You can kind of see them here and here. So if you drag out a network like this, toggle collision on. Let's turn off anarchy for now. So it's like this is vanilla placement. It will delete only that segment, but it will keep these guys. So it still connects. There's still functional sidewalk connection. And let's use the same road as well, because it's nicer. But the sidewalks still work even if you upgrade into a smaller road like this one here. So I'm super proud about that. that little trick. And yeah, you can do it on all these roundabouts. This one as well. This one as well. All 3 roundabouts in the starting tile are sort of connectable that way. The reason I did the starting tile kind of like this, or like the networks in the starting tile, is because it's a pretty tricky terrain to work with. This map is relatively hilly, or like very hilly even in some cases. Like it's not the easiest terrain to work with, but don't just discard it as a unplayable for me map. I would be I would really encourage you to try it out, because it's super fun to build on terrain like this. I tried it, just play tested it, and like in an hour or something, I'll see if I can get a screenshot. I got a city that sort of expanded all the way out here, and like made like all these sort of rustic looking neighborhoods, just going through the valleys and using the terrain, like literally letting the terrain be my guide. Where should I put what stuff? Like this valley here by the rail line. Yeah, you know what? A lot of industrial went here by the rail line, and stuff like that. Like really sort of using the terrain for its advantages, and so. But you have a lot of like starting networks in the starting tile and the vicinity that will help you sort of set up. It's you don't have to make every sort of road from scratch. So that's a nice feature. Also, before we continue, I do remember that we're currently looking at this map, the vanilla tropical theme, I believe. It's a tropical theme map because the map has bison. You need tropical to get bison. But there is a OXG Rostejo Theme. OXG, that's I don't dare say what it stands for right now, but it's basically Xucaboa's ancient sort of build series, you could say. Like it's the build series, so Rostejo is the name of the map, you could say, or like OXG Rostejo is also a name for that. But there is a theme mix for it as well. It's also on the workshop, and makes it look a little bit more better. I guess it looks better. It's made for it. It don't have to. You can play with the vanilla themes as well. I think this one, I played with the vanilla themes mostly while making it, to be honest. So it's not that you have to do it, but yeah, there you go. Now that we have that sorted, let's start to look at. There's so many network things I want to show. Like there's so many cool things. I'll probably I don't know how long this will take, but I really can't stress enough how fun this map was to make, and also will be to play. So you know, I'm gonna show this road here that goes out. There's another roundabout if you want to connect up here. If you unlock, should be upgradable. The ends here, you get these nice views, like a road that gets gradually more and more sort of rural. I really like to make stuff like this, and if you're unlocking these tiles and building, this road will be invaluable. This will be the main road for any sort of developments out this way. I think you need 81 tiles to get all the way to the lighthouse, but it's just so good. Such a fun thing to have, and even just as a detail in the background, this road, how it snakes around. I tried to follow the terrain curves as best as I could to make the most realistic looking road. So fun, and it goes to a life. Oh my god, what do you call it? Lifehouse. I guess it is in many ways. This Xucaboa is a mariner and cares a lot about shipping and boats. So adding lighthouses to the map in a proper location was something I was very nervous about doing, and also felt it had to be done. So, and like it could be some kind of scenic destination. You can go and visit this lighthouse and just, you know, like look at the sea, and this feels like a very nice road. But you know, you can keep it just undeveloped. You can just build up small communities along this coast. Anything goes. There's another one of those on the other side. It's a little bit less sort of, I guess, a shorter road. It's not as a long headland, but still get it. Like it's the views of this map, especially with the mountains in the background, like are so good. Like this map does like things with scale that you don't really see that too often. Like this is This is some Marble Mountain kind of craziness with how to get something that's still relatively small scale in like absolute terms, but make it feel epic and massive. And the sort of compartmentalizing of the map using like terrain and the mountains is just genius work for that. So like this beach here, it looks like it goes on for like an eternity. It's not that long. It's just a few tiles long, but it feels like completely epic. And this is genius work. It's also genius work with the trees. There's so much cool stuff with the trees here that make it look bigger than it actually is. And oh yeah, some coastal forts. Not my most incredible coastal fortifications, but I don't know. I like using the sort of this trench network and raising it up, so it kind of looks like it goes directly into. Basically, it makes this bunker look a bit more sunken into the ground. Otherwise, it sort of sticks up as a turret, and you can have it like that as well. It's not a big deal, but I've placed a few of these around. It's not the main theme of the map, but this since the city is based on Lisbon, partially based on Lisbon, you know. It's a very important port. It would definitely have a lot of fortifications built during the sort of World War era to protect the harbor. You have that all over the world, but especially like at important harbors. So here's some other forts on the other side. Not going crazy with it. We're supposed to blend into the map, and I think they do a pretty good job of that, especially with this theme. I just want to show this that Xuca did. I didn't do this. These swamplands here are amazing. The reason we're not rendering it is like it's my settings for draw distance. Just have to sort of ignore that for a bit. But like, just look at that. That's amazing. Taking a screenshot. What else? I mean, there's so much. There's so much we're gonna go through. We've hardly started, scratched on the surface. Let's follow the networks. There's so many networks to follow. Let's follow this road here and just sort of, I guess, I'll talk about stuff that appears. Here's some more of those roundabouts with like dead-end roads that you can connect to if you unlock here. Because this road here is two one-way roads, like the ramp roads. This is pretty useful because it reduces the speed limit. People drive a little bit slower here, so sort of we prioritize the main highways a little bit more, like in the traffic pathfinding system, but people will still find a use for this road. These roundabouts here where you only have like there's no node that has 4 segments going into it. If I can show and move it maybe. Like this node has 3 going into it, and this one has 3 going out. This is very good for TMP, for making the traffic flow work without TMP. You don't need TMP to get this roundabout to work good. It will sort of the automatic the enter-blocked junction thing that you otherwise set up in TMP is set by default if you do your sort of roundabouts like this. I just want to see what happens if I rotate it a little bit. It's kind of a fun thing. Asymmetrical roundabouts. I don't know. You know, that's another thing. I do a lot. That's not what this video is about, though. I would love to show if I can. Because these highways are very close to each other, sometimes it will be sort of tricky it will definitely be tricky to upgrade them. You see, they're gonna clip each other. But using network anarchy is highly recommended for this map, but if you don't do it, it should still be possible. Like, you can still connect at the nodes, you see, in most cases. And here it actually worked. I don't know. There's plenty of situations on the map where the highways are just a little bit too close. Like maybe here. You know what? Maybe I accidentally made a map that actually works, or made a network that it's not my map. It feels like it is our map, I guess. And Yeah, that kind of... Yeah, okay, maybe it isn't a problem then. Whatever. I thought it was going to be a problem. I like to talk about the problems, so... But another reason why these roundabouts are good is because then you don't need to worry about it. You can just sort of connect your road network to the roundabout, and you don't need to touch the highway as much as you would otherwise. So that's a good little detail. The highway goes out here for like a scenic drive up these beautiful grasslands, or like, I don't know what you would call it, to be honest, like like semi-forested parts. And we see our first bison overpass, which is there's a lot of these on the map, and the reason why we have it is, I don't know if we can see it. We would be able to see it in the map. Yeah, there's a wildlife spawner over here. And whenever I found like, yes, let's go, the first bison. Oh my goodness, I zoomed in way too far. This bison has just used the overpass. Probably. We don't know. But whenever sort of it just felt like it would be appropriate to connect two different areas where the bison or the wildlife in general could roam, I placed these, especially like when it's close to the spawners. So I built these wildlife overpasses. There's actually technically this is also another a potential wildlife crossing point, but it's not as obvious. It's just a bridge over a small sort of valley or gorge. But that's what's going on here. Xucaboa is also big on the bison, and has made plenty of sort of like does a lot of stuff figuring out how these work. And I remember watching a video where he figured out what sort of confines how they walk, like where do they go, and like they're actually blocked by networks. So this bison will just randomly walk in this direction to this network, and they're like, no, I can't cross here, and go somewhere else. Creating these overpasses actually is functional. It's a functional wildlife overpass, and that makes me so happy as well. So that's the story about those. We continue following this road as the terrain gets a bit dramatic. Have this massive ridge. It's a bit exaggerated. This is part of the Lisbon area height map, I believe. But it creates such a unique landscape, this road and this valley here. I don't know what I would be if I would be able to build something here, but like this is pretty far out. It's definitely outside of the 25 tiles, I believe. So sometimes you just have to admire the scenery. And there's another small little bridge. You can run the simulation again. We're not doing anything weird. The tree mix on this map, or like the tree mixes, there's so many. The tree work in general is just very much chef's kiss from me, because they've managed to use the trees that I don't usually look at and say like, oh, that's a usable tree. Like this one I usually just discard instantly, like, no, I don't like it. But they make it work so well in the theme, or like in the mix with other trees, and the Corsican pine as well. Yeah. And there's all these sort of different differences in trees. You see, like in this part here, you get the much more heavy on the live oaks, and here you get like more sort of less dense and like more shrubbery and the pines and yeah, just different environments using the tree brush or the forest spray painter. That's so good. Here we arrive to another interchange. Oh, I found potentially a small issue. Oh no, hope nobody finds that. A little bit of a bump. It's unfortunate. You know, you can only find so much. And here we have another trumpet. There's a lot of trumpets on this map. This was the first one I made, and it looks good. It's a trumpet interchange. It's not really that special, I guess. But what comes here at the end of this highway is kind of special. It's It's a bridge inspired by the Vasco da Gama bridge that goes over the Tejo River, a bit inland from Lisbon. So in real life, this bridge would be somewhere around here, or like over the bay, I suppose, but it would be a bit too crowded with 2 bridges there, so I found this other part. Like, this is the Setúbal part of the map, I think that's how it's pronounced, south of Lisbon, and it just fits well here to connect to another outside connection over here, but you can't hardly see on the other end of the tunnel. Oh, there's also a volcano. Feel free to bob these guys out, the trees, if you don't want them. I probably should have done that myself. But it has fire. That's pretty cool. It's a Xucaboa edition. I just imported this. They made a movie export of it, and I imported it. It's using a lot of fire markers and smoke markers to create the effect of a fiery volcano. It's something I've wanted to do on a map for like at least a year. I have not done it. I feel a little bit sad. So I'm glad that at least somebody is doing this. And I didn't. This is not uniquely my idea or anything like that. But this was Xucaboa's idea independently. So I kind of, if I wanted to be the volcano map guy, I missed that train a long time ago. So it's already been discovered. I know that Bringer of Fire has made like excellent volcano maps as well, and plenty of others. Maybe in City Skylines too, who knows. This trumpet connects up to another 1-lane road here. Let's talk about, I guess, what do you call it? Lane maps. Lane maps, I've tried to use it as much as possible, and also make it work without TMP. In most cases where it's possible, like the lane usage is fine, and you don't need TMP. Yeah. It will work without it. That's the point. So you have 2 lanes coming in from the map edge. 2-lane highways are of course mass transit, as are the cables I used for bridges. So you need mass transit for this map, unfortunately, but it is what it is. And these split up into sort of 2 one-lane directions. Like, I don't know. I've tried to do that a lot on the map, not overdoing it with the highways, not making them bigger than they need to be, but still pretty nice. You could have made a case for using the single network mass transit or mass transit 2-lane in national road asset here, but that opens up opportunity to do like weird stuff at junctions. I believe if I would have used that, you might have a slight chance that people just U-turns here. And I like the mechanic of this having a slightly lower speed limit. I think it's 80 by default, and the other highways have like 100, I want to say, or is it 100, I think. Including the national road has 100 as well. So this sort of influences the pathfinding a little bit. You have this nice winding curve going uphill, getting that grade change. This area is outside of, this is very close to the map edge, by the way, but I'd imagine this would be a great spot for like a second city. So you have a rail line going in here, you have you could probably figure out a way to get ships to use here to like get in there, like some kind of port. Gives me a little bit of Rio vibes, to be honest, like Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, which is fitting because it's another Portuguese speaking part of the world. I don't know, potentially ideas. And the road continues uphill here until it sort of reaches the highest point, which I believe is like around here. I need to speed up this a little bit. I feel like I'm showcasing way too slowly, but there's so much to showcase though. So a nice viaduct, otherwise pretty tricky terrain obstacle to cross. I've definitely tried to do like more cut and fill in many places. I've just edited the terrain to match the road, but in some places we just need to viaduct it, and like having a healthy mix of viaducts, tunnels, all that stuff. It's great. Here is a tunnel that maybe was a tunnel and then turned into a bison overpass, but it's definitely a bison overpass also, so it might be both. But it's... I think it's the second one was spotted, and you see there's bison walking about, so it's needed, definitely. Can't cross here. Maybe we'll see it actually do the turn. Yeah, it gets here. What happens? Oh, it's looking and then it goes the other way. Oh my goodness, that's actually... It even kind of... Maybe that's just me imagining things, but it looked like it was looking and was like, no, nowhere to pass here, mate. Need to find the overpass. Okay, that's so cool. The road goes down and re-enters the river valley here. Donut van almost tripping over. It's kind of a screenshot. We can get just the donut van to appear in it. Nice. And I've used some of my standard techniques, like using the standard techniques. Like here I'm using a elevated segment on the outer road only to get the guardrails, because you don't really need the guardrails here on the inside, I think. Like it's more important to have it on the outside, and by having it like this you actually kind of get a guardrail for free on the inside, so it kind of works. I really like that technique. I should say I am using common ground mod now to when I'm looking at this stuff, because it will like look slightly different and like a little bit worse outside of unlocked tiles without common ground mod, or like without having these tiles unlocked or using that mod. So it just makes things look a little bit cleaner. But I've tested it; it looks decent enough even without it. So here you get to the most least spectacular bridge on the map, probably. It's a very flat, very straight bridge. And I was very close to doing something unique here, but didn't happen. You have a almost equally uninspiring trumpet, but it's still very good. I really like it. Especially the tree work around this trumpet is really good. Or from my standards anyway. You get the highway. So now we're getting to another main highway that connects to the map edge. You can see there's a lot more traffic here. Speed limit is higher. That's probably affecting the pathfinding. It follows this river valley till it ends, and it goes before it ends. Exits the map. It does another one of those bison overpasses. Nice, or bison crossings. And let's go back and follow the road up the main river, main sort of pretty wide river. I did add a ship path, so you can actually get shipping up this river if you want to. I feel like it's wide enough for it. It's probably not necessarily deep enough just because it's wide enough, but it just felt right for City Skylines anyway. So here you can see that technique again with the outside being elevated, so we get the fence. Sometimes we get the key underneath as well. I don't think... I did it here. There's a small key underneath as well to make it fit into the train a bit better. Sort of also hides a little bit of how the road gets very bright and thick if you use a key to sort of hide parts of the road, so, or the elevated road. Small railway overpass and a railway tunnel. And... another bison overpass. So it's probably the biggest one. It's very wide. I've seen bison crossing there, so it's very nice. Very nice to see. And here you are getting closer to, I think, the biggest trumpet on the map. It should be the biggest trumpet on the map. And it is pretty cool. It is a pretty cool one. Oh no. We don't look at this. I found an issue. It's incredible. Yeah, some pillars just never want to be found. There was like 2 extra pillars here. My glorious custom bridge. It's fine. It's fine. You can't get them all. It looked decent enough anyway. So this is arch bridge I made a long time ago, and I sort of edited it to work here on this map, and I think it looks really good. More brutalist, not really that special. It does what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to make a bridge over the river for this highway, so the large main highway going into town. So we'll follow that in a little bit. Let's just follow this out to the map edge. This is the only 3-lane highway that goes all the way to the map edge, by the way. I believe. We might see. There might be another one that I kind of forgot about, but I think that's only 2 lanes, so it sort of diverges, so it has like a different path. Something I experimented with. I would have done it a lot more, to be honest. If I should have done it a lot more. It looks really good, so it goes to the map edge. The map edge just here in the fog, and there's also a rail line here. Like, just following these networks along at this sort of in this way is just super comforting for me to see. I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but I'd imagine it's not. It's a bit, I mean, you have to listen to me as well, but this, I really, really think this map is special and really cool, and I would really, really, I just really want to would show it off. I feel like I haven't done it enough. And here you have very smooth, neat rail intersection with the highway, and they sort of go parallel for a bit towards the starting tile. We're following the main highway back in. You can see we're doing the same trick. Keys on the outside, just slight hint. We have quite a hill going up here, so a smooth curve, and the outside is elevated for the walls. We don't need the walls as much on the inside, on the way up. The speed would be lower, and you kind of also already get it where it matters the most. Like, you don't want any traffic crossing over. So I think that's a really nice trick that I've never really. That's like the first. This is like the first map I think I'm really doing something like that. Mio might have had some of it, but I've really thought about it a lot on this map. So here also get a rail crossing the river, the least spectacular rail bridge on the map probably, but still fine. And that's the rail. We get a cargo train that goes out to the map edge by this Bison Lake, not made by me, but kind of looks like a Pokemon. I don't know why. It feels like a baby Pokemon of some sort, but it's super cute, and some really cool rock work, which and some ancient scenery, ancient sites. That's pretty cool. Some kind of reference to the OXG the lore, maybe. There's plenty of hidden details like that I probably even haven't found on this map, even though I spent quite a while building the networks. I've definitely kept not touched anything like that. Everything like that has stayed in the map, so it needs to stay in the map. And here we go back. The rail line. Yeah, we'll basically show the rail line. It's not that special, the rail line itself here. The split here is more interesting though. I struggle a lot with this, but it works. Finally it works. A vanilla railway split that should work with pathfinding. I went to great lengths to make sure that it works. It should work. The rail goes into a tunnel here at the base and just sort of tunnels through this whole massive, the whole valley, I guess, or it doesn't try to go up the hill. Maybe once upon a time, there was a narrow gauge railway that did that, but this is not that railway. This railway just tunnels through. It's way too steep for modern rail anyway. So, but the highway does climb. It swivels its way up and you get this nice looking sort of compact, awkwardly shaped mountain interchange here. And I'm really happy with this also. It turned out so good. We'll follow that road that connects to in a bit. And here you can see the switch. It switches from having the elevated segment on the left side to the right side, and it so seamlessly. Because here it's pretty flat for the last part before going into this this small tunnel here at the col, or at the peak of the pass, I suppose. I don't know what it's called. I think it's called a col in French, at least. It's a mountaineering term anyway. And this road, the small road that turns off, connects to a small like rest stop viewing spot where you can view the starting tile and the areas around it. I think it's really neat. The highway itself just peeks out here. This is like one of my favorite things, like, because when you just get out here, you just instantly see, I suppose, what would be a city just sort of appearing out of nowhere. This would be like where you would have maybe your city, probably where your city would be. So very nice feature. It would have taken, you could have had the highway go over the whole sort of pass, but it would feel like a little bit too it would feel a bit too awkward. I think the tunnel there is the best option, and when it transitions into a, first of all, one of these asymmetric guys with the guardrails on the one side, and then into a full viaduct over this valley here. Goes down quite a bit. It like has quite a large terrain change to do so, and since this is the main highway, really want to make it as smooth as possible, and I think I managed pretty good. And it goes into this Dogbone interchange that connects up to the sort of starting tile road network, and yeah, and the rail line, as it pokes out of the mountain, goes over this very nice railway arch bridge that I also built a long time ago, and I can see there's a bit more pillars than I intended it to have, but these red colored ones, those aren't intentional, but you know what, that works, it's fine, because we're on the nodes anyway, so it checks out. And yeah, it goes over. I really like how it sort of does a full arch over one of the roads going into the starting tile, so you get this grand entrance kind of feeling when driving down here from the Dogbone. And yeah, it goes into a small tunnel and then sort of enters the center of the starting tile, where it splits up into a few directions. This is probably where you would place a train station. This is where I would place a train station. You don't have to place a train station here, of course, but this is where I would do it. Sort of prepared it a little bit. You know, it is tricky to get it in with the train, but I'm sure you'll manage. This valley here, the Valley of Bridges, if you will. First the brutalist, pretty boring highway viaduct. And then the nice classic arch bridge. And then this more modern arch bridge that connects up. Oh, there's some hidden trees. Yeah, it's like the third thing we find. That's unfortunate. It is what it is. I'm sorry, guys. I always find stuff like this, but I've tried to remove as many trees as possible from the roads. But this connects to a roundabout on the other side. It's sort of, you might have followed it like a little bit in the periphery, but this road connects up to the rest stop and this mountain pass and the interchange. I'd imagine this is the old city entrance, like this is the old road that goes over the pass. And you would have entered the city through some kind of bridge, older bridge at this point, perhaps. I don't know, I just like adding like history stuff like that. I did that a lot in Costa Azura, and that was like my favorite, probably my favorite part of that map. The road itself swivels up in a very steep way up this mountain here. The reason why, this is pretty close to the starting tile, so it felt weird having so many networks around the starting tile and not having anything here. So this was one of the last additions, and oh my god, I'm in love with it. It looks so good, especially on this side where it doesn't sort of do any elevated parts, because it really melts into the terrain so well. And it goes into a series of two tunnels here as it crosses over to the other side and goes into the elevated and keyed portion, where it's a lot more visible from sort of far away, which is not something I'm super happy about, but it's good enough. Like I definitely am happy with this. These nice looking views. First person drives on this map are going to be insane, I'm telling you. and it continues back along the rivers here. So if you want to make like small villages along this mountainside and the river, you now at least have a starting road to do so. So that's the story here. The trees here are just sort of so good. This is so... I wouldn't have tried it. I wouldn't have figured this out. Like, this is just so genius. Like, the pine trees and the shrubbery and the yew trees together. Oh, just it really works for me. And then it connects up back to... So it creates kind of a weird loop around this mountain. But I think it's fine for what it does. It has two connections to both the starting tile and to the highway. So, and it doesn't have to have more, to be honest. I think it's fine. Oh my goodness. What's left is... Or there's a few things maybe that we've missed, but we've saved the main starting, or like near starting tile interchange to last. This is just outside of a starting tile, I believe, yeah. And it is quite massive. And I'm so happy with it. Like, it's massive but compact and also really smooth. I don't think I've ever done something quite... This is like the... In my mind, this is like some of the peak interchange stuff I've ever done. It doesn't require any node controller. The whole map, like no node controller, no IMT. You don't need anything. This is just like vanilla. If you want to connect to it and change it, you will probably need Anarchy because stuff is placed close together. But it works, it flows, and it just looks beautiful. It has one of these clover ramps, and the rest are sort of just, I guess, directional ramps that sort of snake their way through and just wiggle and weave, and it should be fine even for the tallest vehicles like donut vans and stuff like that. There should be enough clearance. I don't know. This is probably right now the interchange I'm most happy I've ever made, and it kind of looks like a fish. So it's like the Fish Interchange, for what it's worth. There we have a screenshot. Maybe coming to Reddit, who knows? One from the other side. To be honest, yeah, Reddit would like that. And the interchange connects to the main highway, but we just came in through the pass. Connects to the bridge via this sort of wonky interchange by on the mountainside that works really good because it connects up this side of the map that otherwise would be pretty tricky. So I'm glad I added this bridge connection here on the interchange, so you don't need to sort of scratch your head how to get over here. So you don't have to like rely on the highway anyway. You can just cross it and get over here. It's a small castle. There's a small factory, I guess, on the waterfront. Just small details, not really necessary. I didn't focus so much on those details on this map. Mostly the lighthouses, but you can always add a little bit more, I suppose. The rail line coming off the bridge here, by the way, it goes up this valley. It's relatively steep, but not unrealistically steep, and it goes into the sort of starting train station spot, the intentional train station spot, and I think that works really well. And it's apparently also pretty realistic to how the valley that sort of where we crammed in all the infrastructure in one valley approaching the bridge in real life. This is based off, I should say, the 25th of April bridge in Portugal, in Lisbon. It's a massive red painted bridge. It, like, you could see it and think like, oh, that's the Golden Gate, but it's not the Golden Gate. But I believe it was built earlier than the Golden Gate Bridge in real life, and actually was a huge inspiration for it, or around the same time. I'm not entirely sure. The Golden Gate is also pretty old, but it's a huge red bridge in Portugal, and it has something that the Golden Gate doesn't have. It has a railway connection underneath it. So when I learned about that, I just had to sort of figure out a way to get it in, and that took some tinkering, I'm not gonna lie, but I am really happy with the results. Functional rail. It also looks good. It just really looks, it just really fits. Here I realized I had to raise the bridge rather late because cruise ships were hitting it. So I had to raise the interchange as well, but that meant I could add like these keys underneath it, which I think looks really good as well. Just sort of tucking it in with keys, making sure it doesn't fall into the ocean. These roads here and the roundabout here is the one that goes to the lighthouse, one of the first roads, so I won't follow that. But we haven't really followed this road out this way. Where I believe this is probably the final interchange on the map. It's a park low with roundabouts because I'm a big sort of simp for this kind of interchange, so looks great, looks beautiful. It deserves another screenshot. If my game can do it. Sometimes it lags when I press the screenshot key. Yeah, there we go. And this highway goes to the map edge without any sort of fuss. There's a few bridges and a few bison overpasses, or at least one anyway. But it's more of the same stuff you've already seen. Like it's beautiful, but it's more of the same stuff. Like I'm really trying to show the whole map, but it might very well be that I miss so much that you could still go around and like fly around and find new stuff here, to be honest. Some more trees, unfortunately. You can't get them all. I mean, I haven't been able to, so it's fine. I should also mention that we have a few other creators helping, like sort of testing and giving ideas for a map. No Mercy has been helping a lot. Larry Skylines and Shake Styles has been also sort of helping and testing and just providing a great input on this map. So it is the OXG gang right there. And yeah. Another one. It's the bridges, I'm telling you, the bridges are so hard. It's fine. And here you see the rail line crossing to the outside connection and the highway crossing to the outside connection as well. It doesn't really matter, but the highway connects to each of the 4 map edges, which I think is a neat feature. The railway doesn't, but there's 4 connections, outside connections of each type, so that's nice. The railway goes close to the highway here for a bit, but then it sort of diverts and does its own path a little bit, which I think is cool. It just details up this area a bit more, and you could sort of options. You could decide to, like, I want to build a road on the highway, or I want to build based off the highway here. Like you could create some kind of interchange here and you know, start building out here. Or you could build something based off a railroad even, like just out this way. So it gives you a bit of options, I suppose. Goes back into the starting tile here, and yeah. These 2 rail lines merge together in the tunnel, so I had to hide that for... it didn't look good if I made it overground, and it was kind of glitchy also, so this is the best way I could do it. What else? Oh, the rail line when it crosses the bridge, we haven't really followed that, but that might be the last network to follow, so stay with me, guys. It follows this, goes on the other side, and just once again like connects a different part of the map here than the highway, so you get the option to like make a railroad town, I suppose, or a railroad community. And it goes through this, just goes straight into this massive mountain, because I found this is probably one of the closest, most reasonable routes to cross this range, which is kind of tricky otherwise. So it crosses over here and does a large sweeping curve, and sort of eventually basically follows this valley that goes together and goes down to the ocean, or goes down to the water level, I guess. The ocean. This is an inlet in itself, I suppose, but and crosses over and, you know, goes to the map edge over here. Whew! Oh my goodness. I I'm not gonna force you to watch anything. I'm not gonna make any cinematics or anything like that. This whole video has been an awkward, fly through kind of cinematic style video and already. But if you liked this map, go and download it of the workshop. I like really recommend it. It's great fun. I'll put the links in the description. If you like the idea of the and I'm gonna try to say it, Xucapografia. That's the OXG. You should go follow Xucaboa for when and watch the sort of first, I guess, season of that, the ancient times progressing into the future style build on this map. And I mean, subscribe to see when the next iteration of it will appear, probably on this map. Subscribe and like this vid. Subscribe to my channel and like this video if you like this. If you downvote it if you didn't like it. If you thought it was way too long and didn't show you anything interesting. But yeah, I don't know. That's all I have. I'll leave you with this thumbnail photo right here. Has to be, right? See you guys next time.